Mom, are you still done? Mom, are you still done?
Hi, afternoon, good morning, wherever you're joining us from. My name is Bukola Shimoloruntuga, and I am pleased to welcome you to the first edition of the Accelerate Your Career Growth webinar series. I'm so excited to be here. I am very opportune to have a wonderful panel of experts, coaches, and thought leaders to join us today. Before we start, I would like to just say a few words. Today, we're going to be having a conversation on the theme positioning your career for growth in the new world of work. And you and I know that COVID did the world a thing in 2020, and that kind of like accelerated the shift towards remote work and digitalization. This singular event has had a significant impact on the way people work and the skills that are required to succeed in the modern workplace. So, and you would see that a lot of organizations are now operating hybrid or fully remote work environments. Professionals now need to adapt to new technologies, chat GPT, for example, and work practices. So, and with all of this, you still have to maintain strong relationships with your colleagues and clients in a virtual setting. I understand some people are just returning to work since 2020. So you see that COVID did the world something. So the pandemic did not only do something to the work environment, it also did a lot to the economy. It has brought in a lot of uncertainty, and a lot of industries are experiencing significant disruption and job losses. You will have heard the news, major organizations are letting people go, and this has raised a lot of questions about how you can position your career such that you not only grow but you stay relevant in this new world of work. So this situation has made it very clear that you need to position your career for growth. You need to be able to identify new opportunities for growth and development, and you have to develop the required skills that are most in demand in the industry now to stay relevant. So overall, this conversation is going to be for anyone who wants to stay ahead of the curve in the new world of work, anyone who is just starting out, or anyone who is looking forward to make a career change. So to help me with this conversation, like I said, I have a panel of experts. They are experts in their areas, career coaches, brand specialists. And before I introduce them, we will take a quick break and I will be right back. Welcome back. So I will introduce my panel, and I'm going to start with my compatriots in gender. I'm going to start with ladies first. This I'm going to start with Kemi. She is also known as the career doctor. Kemi is an executive and career coach. She's a TEDx speaker, trainer, and human resource expert. She's known as the career doctor, as I said, and she's the founder of the Career Fitness Incorporated, a company committed to helping people attain career fitness by helping them get clarity on the right type of work that fits their innate abilities, strengths, talents, and passions so that they are fulfilled, they can thrive in the workplace and transform their organizations. Then I am going to move quickly to Mohammed. Mohammed. Mohammed is a career coach like me. He's a business mentor and a professional speaker. He helps his clients to see their true greatness by leveraging his expertise in career, business, and life coaching. In addition to his one-to-one coaching practice, Mohammed is also the founder of MK Career Solutions, a personal branding company that supports clients with CV development, LinkedIn optimization, and interview training. So now I'm going to my brand coach, that is Emeka Ebeniro. Emeka is a business consultant, is a personal branding and transformation specialist and speaker. He's a certified integrated marketing communications professional and business consultant with over 13 years of experience in brand management, corporate communications, and organizational strategy. So, ladies and gentlemen, before we jump into the meat of the matter today, I'm going to just let us understand why we're here once again. The world of work has changed, and we need to prepare ourselves for it. We need to do all that is necessary to make us competitive. And I've kind of broken down the conversation into four uh, different um, major areas that I think that people should really focus on in the new world of work. And we're going to start with a conversation on the skills and qualities you need to have in the new world of work. Then we're going to move and talk about personal branding because you would have noticed that the world is moving towards personal brands. Personal brands are the in thing now. People are no longer gravitating towards corporate brands. Even the corporate brands are leveraging on the strengths of the personal brands that they have. And then we're going to look at the opportunities that you have for growth and advancement in this new world of work. And finally, we're going to try to look at the future of work. I said it earlier. Chat GPT is here. Technology is moving. What are we going to do to position ourselves for the world of work that we're in and the world of work that is beginning to evolve daily? But before we go into that, let's take a quick break and I will be right back. Career doctor. And my first question, is going to be, like I said, we're going to talk about emerging skills and qualities in the new world of work. So, Kemi, what do you think are the most important skills and qualities that professionals need to succeed in the new world of work?
Okay, thank you, Coach BSO, and thank you so much for having me. It really is a privilege and honor to be here, sharing from my wealth of experience some of the things that I've gleaned over the years of my
Mhm.
over 20 years experience in HR. So I really want to say thank you to everyone who's logged on watching. I hope
Mhm.
you do go away with something that is quite transformative. So,
Mhm.
question, honestly, when I think about the world of work, the new
Mhm.
world,
Mhm.
I just feel like we cannot do the things we were doing before.
Mhm.
I mean, circumstances change. Even aside, even before COVID introduced a different way of working, right? For me, it's always been about how can you stay relevant? How can you stay a person of value? Because quite frankly, that's what employers are looking for. That's what they're paying for, really. They're paying for the value that you bring to the organization. And so, for you to be of value, you've got to be relevant, you've got to be up to speed, up to date with what's going on around you. And as the world of work is evolving, you've also, as an individual, have got to evolve. So, it was Einstein that said, that doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different outcome or result is insanity, right? So, what we want to do is position ourselves, align ourselves to the way the world of work is going, such that we remain relevant. So, no longer can we think I'm in this job or career because it pays my bills. We can't have that anymore. We've really got to think about what do we bring to the table? And some of the skills that we need to, I mean, I'm sure before COVID, these were skills that we talked about, but even more so now, these skills are more prominent in the new world of work. And I will use an acronym called CAPER, CAPER, to remind you of this. Okay, so the C is for critical reasoning, critical thinking, right? So this speaks to how we're able to think critically about issues at work. How are we able to how are we able to think differently about things that arise in the workplace? The A is for analytical skills. You've got to be able to analyze data, analyze things as they come. The P is for problem solving. I think for me, this is one of the most important, problem solving, because if you're not able to proffer a solution to some of the problems that arise in the workplace, then you lose relevance, you lose value. So, problem solving is absolutely fundamental. So, something comes up, even before something comes up, you've got to be able to think ahead of the curve around what might happen in time to come and how might I solve this problem. So that's the P. The E is around emotional intelligence. I can delve into that at some point soon, but it's really about self-awareness, self-regulation, being aware of what's happening around you, being observant as to where is the world of work going? What's happening in my industry? What's going to change in the next 6 months? Are you reading the signs? Are you reading the writing on the wall in terms of this is not going to be relevant in the next 6 weeks, 6 months? How am I going to position myself, or how are we as an organization going to address this problem that we see is likely going to come up? And then the R in CAPER is for relationship management. No more do we want to be thinking about competition, but how do we relate? How do we have great partnerships? How do we create great relationships such that we're working in collaboration as opposed to in competition? So that would be my response to your question, Coach BSO, around some of the skills and qualities we need for the new way of working. And also that relates to, there you go. Okay, you're back up.
I mean, I like all the points you raised. I like the CAPA acronym works perfectly. Critical thinking, analytical thinking, problem solving, emotional intelligence, and relationship management. I mean, anyone who keeps that and works on that, I know is positioned for growth in the new world of work. But then let's just take it a little bit a step further. As the way you develop, how have these skills changed in response to digitalization and remote work. People didn't get to see themselves regularly over a long period of time. You were not seeing yourself in the office, you were just working over the internet and virtually, like we're having this virtual conference now. How have these skills changed in response to digitalization? Because, like you said, COVID only brought these things to the fore. We needed to do these things anyway in the past. So, what has changed? What has changed?
What has changed has always been what's changed, but without us knowing that it's changing. So let me give you an example. So in my in one of my organizations that I worked at, we had this plan to introduce technology that allowed people to work from home. And that was going to be introduced over a 6-year period. COVID came along and disrupted the whole plan. And so I think I wouldn't say a lot has changed in terms of the skills that I just mentioned, because all those skills are very important in the new way of working, the new world. A lot has changed in terms of how we relate with each other, how we even position ourselves. So, for example, people who used to go into work Monday to Friday, 9 to 5, would spend hours traveling, right? That's gone out of the window. So now we're able to possibly be more productive around, I don't have to travel for 2 hours a day. So those 2 extra hours, I can either get to rest, I can either get to do more work. So it's gaining back time. But I guess for us for employees, you've really got to find that balance between, so just because I'm working from home or in a different way, how can I make sure that the boundaries are not blurred, so that I'm not logging off at ridiculous hours? So it's really about looking at yourself and thinking, am I still relevant in this new way of working? And one of the things that you've got to absolutely fundamentally do is disrupt. You've got to self-disrupt. I like acronyms. I like acronyms. So this is what I'm going to say: disrupt. The D stands for disrupt. You've got to self-disrupt. You've got to think critically around, right, so now that I'm working in a different way, how can I possibly, as a manager, as a leader, how can I still maintain those connections with the people that I work with? Because it's very easy to be detached if you're not in a physical environment where you see people every day, right? So it's about learning how to work with people in a different environment to help you achieve what you need to achieve for the team, for the organization. Very, very critical. How can you be flexible and dynamic enough to adapt to those changes, right? It's so the I in the disrupt, because I like acronyms, as I've said, is innovation. How can we be innovative about how we work, how we show up, what we do, what we ask of people to do, right? How are people's strengths showing up in the new way of working? And how can you spot those strengths and bring it to the fore? The S in disrupt is for service. How can you be of service to other people around you, right? So it's not just about going into work and doing your bits and leaving. It's about how can you reach out to other people? Because again, a lot of people would say this, and we hear it all the time. We live in a VUCAD, there's a D there, world, a volatile, uncertain, complex, ambiguous, and disruptive world, right? So how can you reach out to people who might be feeling burnt out, might be feeling the strains of what COVID has come to do, right? How can we make sure that health and well-being is at the forefront of every employee? So for example, making sure that people are well, people are okay, they're not working stupid crazy hours, they've got the right work-life harmony. How can we make sure that we have packages within an organization that address those things? So well-being, and one of the things that I did last year, so I did a TED talk and I talked about the link between career fitness and mental health and well-being. So there's a correlation between you not being happy at work and your mental health and well-being, right? So we need to make sure that people are well enough, okay enough to do a fantastic job, assuming that everyone comes to work to do a great job, so that the performance and productivity is not hampered. Where was I? So that was S. It's about serving others, making sure
Mm-hmm.
that, you're there to take up space and doing your own thing. How can you be of
Mm-hmm.
service to people? Not just your bosses, but your direct reports as well.
Mm-hmm.
Two-way
Mm-hmm.
things. Resilience. How can, COVID has taught us a lot about how to be more resilient. But resilience is not
Correct.
about, oh, it's just going to show up. How can we make sure that we are displaying these things? We're training things, we're raising awareness about how to be resilient. The you is your uniqueness. So what do you bring to the table that's so unique? Everyone
Mm-hmm.
was created in unique ways. Everyone has unique expressions. So what is it about you that stands out? What is your personal brand? And I know we've got a branding expert to talk to us about branding.
Correct.
As an individual,
Yeah.
brand. What does your brand say about you? So when your name is mentioned, what
Mm,
emotions are evoked? That's the brand.
mm,
That's the brand you as a personal brand. And the peaceful
mm-hmm,
partnership, I talked about this in a little earlier about working with other people. Who can you collaborate with? Who can you work with to get the job done? And the
mm-hmm,
T is for trust. Trust is absolutely critical and fundamental to anything you do in the world of work. When you gain the
mm,
trust of your stakeholders, your bosses, and everyone around you in that organization, then you're
mm.
able to show up better. You gain the confidence to do a great job. And I will stop there because I'm sure
Yes,
I'm sure I'm
yes,
running out
Gabby. Thank you
of time.
so much. I was just going to say that I don't think I have any more questions because you have just kind of like explained everything succinctly, and I absolutely love the acronyms. I don't think anybody will forget that. Even I won't forget that. And you're talking about personal branding. Let me just jump right into it and bring Emeka up so that he can start telling us exactly how we use our personal brand to position ourselves for growth in this new world of work. Thank you so much, Kemi.
Fantastic.
Yay. Thank you. Thank you.
So,
Thank you.
Emeka, my coach, you see, I tell people, and I can say it any day, all the time, that you helped me to define my personal brand. That was just you. I can never forget that conversation where we were asking, so what am I going to call myself? What am I going to stand for? Who am I going to be when I come out as a coach? And that kind of conversation lives rent free in my head. So you know now let's bring it down to every professional. And
Mhm.
it's like Kemi said, it's one of the critical things that you have to develop in this new world of work,
Yeah.
especially because the job market has become extremely competitive,
Very
right?
true.
So in this current job market, how important, I don't know, I know I don't have to say this, but I think people need to hear it from you. How important is personal branding for professionals who want to grow their career, who want to advance in this new world of work?
Thank you so much, BSO, for having me here, and welcome everyone who is joining us and wherever you're joining us from. Now, we need to understand this. People buy people. It's just the way it is. People don't just buy job descriptions or products or services. People buy people. Now, if you want them to buy you as the CEO of your organization, because your CV is actually your proof. So it's your proof that you can get the work done and that your organization, which is Emeka Ebeniro Incorporated, is the right partner or the right person to work with. Now, for that to happen, I need to have a personal brand. Why? Personal brand builds trust. So, how do I trust that you're the right person for the job when you can't deliver on the job? How do I trust that you are the person that's supposed to been done when you don't have any form of footprint? I can't rightly say that this is what you're doing. So that is why it's important that you have a personal brand. And the truth is, I just can't say it enough. You need to have a personal brand because everything we do today, it's personal. You are here because you believe in Coach BSO. You want to listen in because you believe that Kemi Oyo, Mohammed, or Emeka will deliver on their promise. And your personal brand is your promise. So as a professional, as someone that's striving, getting somewhere, you need to know that you have a promise. And this promise are the skill sets that you intend to bless the world with. Now, for you to do that, you need to communicate that, and you communicate that with your personal brand. And it's not just for the MD, it's not just for the C-suite professionals, it's not just for the owner of the business. It's for you, even as an entry level, mid-level, or senior level employee in that organization. Why? The market is very competitive. As much as we have thousands of jobs or on the job board, it's still very competitive because there's so many people that are applying for that same job. It's still very competitive because there's so many people that are eyeing or looking forward to that promotion. It's still very competitive because there's so many people that are submitting proposals and pitching for either funding, or they are trying, to partner with another organization. So there's so many proposals that are being sent. There's so many people that are pitching for the organization to get funding. There's so many people that are applying for a job to get that job. There's so many people that are looking forward to that promotion. There's so many people that, are even trying to switch jobs. So you need to know that you're not the only one that has that same aspiration. And that is why you need to have a personal brand and take your personal brand seriously. So I'll stop there.
Okay, so now that takes me to the next question, which is how do you build it? What are the elements, key elements of an effective personal brand in today's world of work? An effective personal brand. I mean, there's so many brands, but an effective personal brand, the kind of brand that would help you to position your career for growth.
For me, I would say there's several things that you can use to build your personal brand, but we can look at them chemistry with acronyms. So I will start by naming some P's. You need to know that one of the first P's, or the first P, is your purpose. Okay, why am I doing what I'm doing? Why do I want that job? Why do I want to build in this career? Why do I want to scale my business? Why do I want to do what I'm? So that's your purpose. The intention is very important. If you do not have a clear purpose, you would most likely struggle in that career. So let me bring it home. Let me give a simple example. You can be a newbie trying to transit into tech, and you do not know. You know that, yes, you love tech, you want to express yourself, but you do not have your purpose in, or know why, or which of the different sectors or segments in tech that you want to be. Do you want to be a project manager, a scrum master, a product owner, a business analyst, a UI UX designer? Where do you want to play? So that's where purpose comes in. So, but that purpose would be effective when you know this is who I'm sent. This is what I'm sent to do. This is who I am, and this is how I want to express myself. That's purpose. Now, once you've established your purpose, the next thing you need to do is establish your promise, because your brand is your promise. So you know your purpose. Your promise basically is, I'm going to deliver on this skill set. I'm going to deliver on this job every day of the week at this level. That is my promise. So it's not enough for you to just say, okay, I have a purpose. I want to be, for example, a business analyst. You need to know that as a business analyst, you need to deliver on the job, because that is why they're hiring you. They're hiring you based on your brand, which is your promise that you would deliver as a good and effective business analyst. Now you have your P, purpose, you have the other P, promise. Now, the other thing you also need to establish are some other P's. So you need to establish your positioning. So I have my purpose, I have my promise. How do I position myself in this new world of work so that I can get the job, so that I can be able to be seen, heard, and felt by my stakeholders? Kemi has laid the foundation. Your stakeholders are both internal and external. You could be organizing a workshop and you need to do a good job. You could be part of a meeting or contributing one way or the other as a professional. You need to be able to position yourself and the organization in the right way. The other P that you need to take advantage of is a platform. Now, positioning and platform go hand in hand, because one of the ways you position yourself as the professional for the job is by being on the right platform. It's funny that a lot of professionals do not leverage the number one professional platform, which is LinkedIn. It's funny that a lot of professionals do not leverage the biggest search engine or the second biggest search engine, which is YouTube, or even the biggest search engine, which is Google. So when I Google your name, what do I see? I don't see anything about you. When I search on YouTube, what do I see? I don't see anything about you. When I go on LinkedIn, what do I see? It's not optimized. You have not positioned yourself well as somebody that will deliver the promise, because you don't have a clear purpose. So you see how they all tie back together. Now, the final thing that you need to do and you need to know is the other P is product. You are the product. As much as your promise is to deliver on that quality, you are the product, and that's the mindset you need to have. And I've shared this on so many platforms, and I'll tell you this: you are the product because you are the CEO of your own organization, and your skill set is what you deliver to that organization. So the organization that employs you is more or less, to me, it's a retainer. They sign me every year for example, in the UK, they sign you every year for, is it 50K a year, 100K a year, 200K a year? That's what they sign you for every year. They sign you for 100K as a retainer for you to deliver that product. What's your product? Your skill set, your soft skills, your technical skills, your different types of skills, to deliver that to that organization in that capacity every other day of the week, so that you can help the organization scale. You can't deliver on your product if you don't have a clear purpose. You are not sure of your promise, which is, I'm going to deliver at this level. You've not positioned yourself, and you've not leveraged the right platform. So there's so many other P's, but I just want to leave it here. So these are the way, or this is one way, or one very effective way you can use to separate.
Thank you, Emeka. That was very insightful. So, first, you need to establish your purpose, then, you need to know what your promise is, then, you need to properly position yourself. And you said something very critical. A lot of professionals and have not established their platform. They think that everybody online is a content creator. I think that's the challenge. But the truth of the matter is, that's where you position yourself. That's where
Yeah,
the world can find you now. That's
yeah.
where the world is. Everybody spends time, I mean, most of their time online. So that's where
Mhm.
the world can find you. So we have to leverage the platform. You have to find the platform that works best for you. A lot of them are on LinkedIn. There's nothing on their profile. They are busy working. Busy working. I was like that for so many years, and I can tell you that I have had my LinkedIn account for handle for, I don't know, I must have had it for like almost 10 years before I started being active in 2021. Imagine. So it's 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 really interesting when you say that, you know you need to find a platform, and that platform is the internet, whichever medium you choose, but make sure you are somewhere, because the person that is going to employ you is going to look for you online. Yes, you have sent a CV, but they're going to Google your name. So you need to put your footprint on the World Wide Web. Now, we're moving very quickly, and this just makes it very appropriate to hear from Mohammed, right? So now, Emeka has said we need to be on the right platforms. Question is, even when you are on these platforms, how do you identify the opportunities that you have for growth and advancement on those platforms, especially in this new world of work? So, Mohammed, that question is for you. How do we identify the opportunities for growth and advancement in the new world of work? Taking it from where Emeka stopped, which is we have to find the right platform. And that's where I found you. I found you on LinkedIn. I found you there. So because you were there, that's how I found you. And that's how people will find people nowadays. I mean, you're in the UK, I'm here in Nigeria. I don't know how else I could have met you if I did not see you on LinkedIn, if you were not there. So tell me, what are the effective strategies for identifying new opportunities for growth and development in the new world of work?
Thank you very much for having me, Bukola. I really appreciate it. Really appreciate it. A really simple framework that I use to help my clients identify what the next step is, where to identify opportunities, what to do, is thinking about two words: the gap and the gain. Now, what do I mean by that, really? So the gain, what are your strengths? What are you really good at already? What do you perhaps often get praised for by your managers or your colleagues? What do you often find yourself doing quite easily that other people might really struggle with? What are those things for you? And how well are you leveraging those current skills, either in your current career or maybe in a future career to come? That is one route, focusing on your strengths and seeing how you can use them to propel your career trajectory to the next level. The other way is the gap. And what I mean by the gap is you've got a wonderful set of skills that you know and you're confident and you're really good at. But what skills are you lacking that are perhaps limiting your growth potential? What do you need to work on, either through mentorship, through coaching, by taking a course, or by simply focusing and committing more time to? Maybe there's an opportunity there where if you can work on those skill deficiencies, that you can then create a new career trajectory. So the gap and the gain are the two most simplest ways to be able to identify new growth and career opportunities.
So much, Mohammed. I'm just going to take it straight, taking it from where you stop, identifying your strengths, and that's the gain, and then the gap. What is it that you need to do to be able to qualify for those opportunities? So the next question would now be, what are the potential career paths, opportunities for this new world of work? I mean, there's so many new careers and so many new skill sets now. It's phenomenal. Things that you could never have said you're going to build a career in like 5 years old. People are building businesses, lifestyles on those kind of skills now. So can you just kind of like identify some potential career paths and opportunities for growth in this new work?
Wow, that's such a broad question because the possibilities are endless. But I would always invite anyone listening to this conversation to make it very specific to yourself. There's typically 3 reasons why one wants to make a transition, either from a job into a new job or from a job into a business, or anything in between. And that's usually because of more money, more time, or something that's to do with fulfillment. So the questions that you can ask yourself, if you're in this particular juncture in your life, is money. What would more money allow me to do that I cannot currently do? Because the money has to have meaning. It cannot simply be for the sake of having money. Number 2, the same can be said about time. If I had more time than I had now, what would I be doing it relative to what I do now? Or perhaps another way of looking at it is, if I had all the time in the world, what would I be doing? Because that not only allows you to see what the reason for your transition is, but also maybe to identify things that are perhaps not present in your life than you want to, which brings us to number 3, which is about fulfillment. If we have the money that we want, if we're leveraging the time that we want, then the only thing left is doing something that really fulfills us, that feels exciting, that feels passionate, that stirs us up with an intrinsic motivation to go and get things done. So the first step is to first think about why is it that I want to move, and then find opportunities that meet that trajectory. For example, if it's simply about the money, one can look at getting promotions, for example, or it can be about negotiating a higher salary in another company or in the same company. Number 2, time. That is a slightly trickier one to address than the first one, but time can be as simple as maybe thinking about, and I say simple in quote unquote, making a transition from doing a full-time salaried role to one which more flexible hours exist. Or perhaps it's about moving into the same role but as a contractor or a freelancer. Or perhaps the ultimate, although more risky, is about moving into a business venture because that creates all the time in the world. And the third one, which is about fulfillment, that truly is a deeper question to consider, really. Typically, it's one that people only truly stop to think about once they have enough money and have enough time. But ultimately, it's about thinking about making an impact that transcends one's lifetime. How can you use the skills, the unique experience, and the gifts that you have to create a legacy for yourself, to create something that has an impact wider than just you as an individual? Those are all questions to consider, and hopefully it will allow people to come to their own conclusions about what opportunities exist, because I'm sure there are many people listening from many industries and many different backgrounds, and I'd love to create some questions that allow it to make it suitable for them rather than the general audience as a whole. So hopefully that answers your question.
Okay, Mohammed. Thank you for that. That was, I mean, 3 reasons. You need to identify why you want to transition. Is it about money? Is it about more time? Is it about fulfillment? For me, I think it was about more time and fulfillment. That was why I transitioned from paid employment to self-employment, because I mean, if I'm paid to be somewhere, that means the person owns my time for that period. I wanted to be more in control of my time. I wanted to have more time for my family, especially my young son, and that gives me a lot of fulfillment now. And you know, one of the things I say is that when you're setting goals, your goals must align with your values, and your values can change over time. When I was much younger and single, my value, what was important to me, was being the best at my work. I'm not saying it's no longer a value for me, but I think family and time for my family and other things has taken priority over that. So it kind of like changed the dynamics of my life. And you know, like you rightly said, what are the reasons why you want to take those opportunities? When you're identifying those opportunities, you need to make sure they align with your values, and that means you need to know what your values are in the first place, so that you can make sure that there's an alignment, and there will be, you know, so that when you take on those opportunities, you'll be able to give them your best. And this is my last question for you, Mohammed. The last question I now have is, so how can professionals position themselves for growth in their industry? Because you know, professionals are everywhere. In the past, just doctors, engineers, lawyers, but now we have content writers, content creators, we have YouTubers, we have TikTokers. How can professionals position themselves?
Great question, great question. And perhaps to build on the wonderful points made by my colleagues on the panel today, the easiest way to do so is to pick a social media platform, any of them, and then to document one's progress. What are you learning about on a day-to-day basis? Maybe you're in a job where it involves a lot of client interactions. Perhaps you can take some notes, and then you can start to make a post about that and make some information that other people can see. Maybe you have a role where you're in a lot of meetings with internal colleagues. Again, can you take the learnings of that and can you make it into an article, a blog? And those are if you prefer writing. If you're more of a speaker, why not start a YouTube channel, make some short videos on Instagram or TikTok, or even start a podcast? There are so many different ways to document what we're doing, and it's the easiest way to show our career trajectory, because when we're talking about building a personal brand, when we're talking about showing up in interviews or potential client conversations for a business, it's not only about the value that you can offer now, but people need to buy into your journey. What has it that allowed you to get to the point where you are today? And if you're documenting your progress on a weekly or daily basis, people will be very easily be able to follow your trajectory. What's also great about that is that along the way, people will receive your information where you are at, and people will see the value that you are offering. Every single person has a unique set of strengths and gifts that only they can create value from. And there are people out there crying out for the value that they can provide. One simply has to identify the value and then match it up to people who need it. And using social media creates a wonderful way for discourse to happen, for conversations to occur, and new opportunities to arise from this. Social media can be seen as quite a nerve-wracking thing, but it really doesn't have to be. If we all show up as our authentic selves, people will recognize that, people will appreciate that, and new opportunities and positioning will occur as a result of that as well.
Thank you so much, Mohammed. So much has been said in such a short time. I mean, my head is exploding right now. I'm sure a lot of people have taken a lot of notes, but we're going to go into question and answer session. So if you have questions, drop them in the comments. There are people there to pick them up. We're going to take a short break, and when we come back, we're going to start taking the questions. So drop your questions in the comments so that the panelists can deal with them and give you the answers that you want. If you are going to ask them questions outside of here, you'll have to pay lots and lots of money. So you better take advantage now. So ask your questions, drop them in the comments. There are people there to pick them up, and we will respond to the questions after the break. See you in a bit. Welcome back. Yes, so I think we have a question. The first question we have here, keep them coming. We have about 20 minutes for this, or maybe 15 to 20 minutes. And the first question that somebody asked, I think this is for Emeka, is how can I grow my brand when working under someone? I think that's a critical question because a lot of people think that what's the point of growing my brand? I'm working for somebody, so why should I bother? So how can I grow my brand? Should I even grow my brand? I think I'm adding that question. Should I grow my brand when I'm under somebody's employment?
Yes, you should. Yes, you should. And you should take your brand seriously. I'm going to say this again, guys. You should grow your brand and you should take your brand seriously. How can you do that? By showing and communicating your value. And I'll give you a name. You can Google his name. You can follow him on IG. He's a Nigerian. His name is Tega Ogara. Tega Ogara is the head or group head of communication for Boa Group. I've known Tega for a long time. Our path crossed when I was working at an ad agency back then in Nigeria. And Tega was in the corporate communication for Wema Bank. Tega left GT and moved on to Wema Bank. And my agency at the time was managing the ad campaign and marketing for Wema Bank. Now, Tega has successfully, over the years, built his personal brand still as a professional. So in your case, you said working under someone. Yes, Tega has built his brand working under somebody by simply communicating his value. I always say this, it is not how much you know, but how much you show. When you show people what you know, then you become the expert or the go-to person for that particular solution. So it's not enough for you to, like B also said, like the ostrich, you bow your head in the sand and you act like you don't bother. No, no, no. That era is gone. What you need to do is communicate your value. What value are you bringing to the table? How are you helping the organization position in the light in the world? Now, let me give you a typical statistics. It is said that over 60% of people that buy from organizations say that they like the MD or top executive or a staff member in that organization to be on social media. So if that is why you see in Nigeria, you see Tony Elumelu is very vocal, is very in your face, as the case may be, with his brand. Why? People would bank with UBA, people would use Transcorp Hilton, people would buy from them because they see Tony Elumelu, who is the head honcho, the chairman, the MD, the CEO of that organization on social media, and because it builds trust. I can't trust you if I don't know what you're up to. I can't trust you if you don't have views about anything. I can't trust you if I don't see you. I can't relate with you. So if you're working under somebody, the best time to build your personal brand is now. The best place to show your personal brand is online. And the best way to go about it is by being authentic and being original.
Thank you so much, Emeka. So now we have another question. I think this is for Mohammed. So Emeka, yeah. So Mohammed, this question I believe is for you. So how does a newbie on a new career transition find audience who trust him, even when it's obvious there might not be any proof yet to show? So, I mean, you said something about being authentic, showing up, so that people you can build trust. So, how does a newbie do that, especially if the person just made a career transition? So, yes, I believe that question is for you. Am I correct?
It may well be. I'll try my best to answer that question. So,
Yeah,
a newbie who's just made a career transition and they're asking about how they should position themselves and show up in the world. Is that correct?
correct. Yes, especially now they don't have proof yet. So, yeah.
Yes. You know what? That is the best place to come from. And the reason for that is because there's so much inauthenticity in the world today. There are so many people who are positioning themselves like they know it all, they have all the answers, when really they have Googled something. So maybe instead of coming from a place of authority, come from a place of curiosity. Speak to the world about what you do not know. Speak to the world about what you've learnt every single day, every single week. Document your learnings and your progress, because the likelihood is you are not going to be the only one who has started a new trajectory and are showing that you're learning and you're new and you're naive to a large degree because you've got a lot to learn. That's a wonderful place to come from. People will appreciate the fact that you're so open about that. And the wonderful thing is people will like to follow you and see how you're doing week by week, month by month, year by year. And by the time you come to the place where you are truly successful in what you do, you will have many, many, many people who are truly loyal fans and followers and advocates of you, because they've seen where you've come from and they've seen where you've gotten to. So document your learnings, document how you're growing and developing, and be open about the fact of what you do not know. It's a refreshing twist on social media, and one that people will really appreciate.
Absolutely, Mohammed. That is so correct. So start from a place of curiosity. There's so many fake brands out there, so many people faking it before they make it, right? They say you should fake it before you make it, but we are saying that come from a place of curiosity. Let people know that you don't know. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. There's so many people like you, and people want to identify with people that don't know too. They want to feel like they are not alone, and that way you build trust because they know that you are exactly where they are in their journey. So there's a resonance. They resonate with that, and they would, be Mohammed.
Yes, can you hear me?
Question is, yes, I can hear you. How can I overcome career decision that to meet my expectations?
I'm sorry, could you repeat the question? It cut out.
Okay. How can I overcome a career transition that has failed to meet my expectations? That's the question.
How can I overcome a
Career
career
transition that has failed to meet my expectations?
Interesting. I'd be curious to know what one's expectations were before making the career transition. What is the reason that we are frustrated? Again, is it because the learning opportunities aren't there? Is it because the team or the people that I'm surrounding myself aren't ones that I particularly get on with? Is it because financially or the energetic investment isn't where I want it to be? And before we think about doing anything radical like quitting what we're doing or making another transition into something different, it's easier to think about these issues because they can be fixed and remedied in the right way. For example, a people problem, maybe it's the people that we are working with. Is there a piece that can be done where we can perhaps try and understand them a bit better? Is there perhaps a conflict in communication styles, which means that we are not gelling the way they like? Energetically, maybe it's not a good fit. Maybe we feel more tired or we don't feel energized by the work. Why is that the case? Is that because we're doing something new that perhaps we're not comfortable with? Is it because we are not allocating our time in the right way? Or maybe our mind isn't in the right place? Think about the things that are within your control. As Stephen Covey talks about, the circle of influence. Focus on trying to remedy and fix those things first, and then see where life takes you. Because quite often we'll be surprised at how much small shifts in the way we engage with people or the way we perceive a negative situation can be completely flipped. And that will avoid us having to go through a massive transition or make another big change in life.
Thank you, Mohammed. I hope that answered your question, Rolly Mac. Now, I think this is for Emeka. Let me bring you up for this question. We have just about 10 minutes left for this. Emeka, you're up. So how can I grow my brand? I have a small scale business and I'm not really good at creating content. I mean, we're all not good.
Okay. This is what I would say.
How can I grow my brand? I have a small.
Okay, this is what I would say. From the question, how can I grow my brand? You have a small scale business and you're thinking of growing your brand. One of the very first thing you need to do or you need to know is, okay, what do I stand for? Let's start with that. What do I stand for? Your small scale business, what does it stand for? In understanding that question alone, it would help you now discover how to be different. So let's reverse engineer it. What do I stand for? Okay, I stand for integrity, I stand for innovation, I stand for speed. That is something you stand for. So let's pick integrity or innovation and speed. You stand for speed. Your small business is focused on speed. So one of your strengths is you get things done faster. So depending on the business. Maybe you're a hair making business, you're a makeup business, as a makeup artist or hair making hairdresser, you know how to get things done faster. Fantastic. That is a good starting point. Now that you know this and you know the audience that you're serving, the next thing you want to do is how can you differentiate yourself from every other person? You can do that with your service offering. You can do that with your colors. You can do that with your language. So let me break it down. I have this 5 dimensions of branding, and I say it's sight, taste, smell, touch. Basically your 5 senses. So for example, your small business, you first start by speed, small business, differentiation. Okay, let's start by repackaging or renaming our offering. So when people come to our store, when people want to come and buy from us, instead of us calling it the regular name that everybody knows, we would differentiate ourselves by customizing the name. That is the first level. 2, let's go to site again. We've talked about name, talked about site again. Let's start by looking differently. So even in, let's say, for example, you own a barbing salon. Now, instead of your barbers to dress the regular way, why don't your barbers dress like pilots or dress like doctors or basically dress differently? Now, that alone is going to shift the way people will look at your small business. You can also find another way of differentiating yourself by the style or the aesthetic of your business. You can start by changing the way it looks. So if every other hairdresser or every other person in your category is doing something in a certain way, which is normal, you can decide that, you know what, in my own barbing salon, I want to have books there. In my own barbing salon, I want to have a place where you just want to change the way it is. That's one way of differentiating yourself. I mentioned another way of differentiating yourself is changing the name. So when people come and they say, I want to barb this style, you, instead of you calling it the regular name, you say, okay, fine. Do you want a Michael Jackson or a Tony Robbins or a Fela Durotoye haircut, or do you want a Barack Obama? And they're like, okay, what's a Barack Obama? Okay, a Barack Obama is, we call this haircut a Barack Obama because it has this fade, he does this, he does that. That alone differentiates you. So when your customers come, so for example, a customer and a newbie comes into your barbing salon and someone says, I want a Barack Obama, and you do that, and the person like, oh, sorry, what's a Barack Obama? That alone differentiates you from every other person. So your customers now become like your tribe members, and they now become your evangelists because you have differentiated yourself. You've not spent additional money. You've only done things differently. Now, as a professional, now that's for a small business. As a professional, you can also apply the same principles by naming things differently, by standing out using a predominant color. There's so many other things that I know time won't permit us here to go, but these are just some of the very simple and inexpensive way of differentiating or branding yourself differently by first and foremost understanding your purpose.
Right. Right. Thank you. So I think I'm going to take the 2 questions I see here that kind of are, the first one says, how can I keep up with posting on different platforms as a student and also someone building a career? And then somebody says, I have a problem with consistency. A lot of time I know what to do, but I can't just find the right energy. Okay, so the first one, how do you keep up with posting on different platforms? I would just say use scheduling tools. Use scheduling tools. I use them too. I'm sure that most of us here use them. Most of us content creators, coaches like me use them too. So use scheduling tools. There's so many of them now. Free. Use the free plans first. Start with the free plans and then move on to the paid plans. Then how do you have a problem with consistency? Everybody has a problem with consistency, to be honest. But what is it that keeps you going? Discipline. You say you can't find the right energy. There is the initial motivation. to do whatever you want to do. But what makes you keep showing up is discipline, because motivation will dissipate. That first adrenaline feeling that you get, it dissipates after a while. You no longer feel excited. You no longer feel like you want to do it. But the only thing that makes you consistent is discipline. And John Maxwell says that to stay consistent, you have to climb the bridge of discipline daily. So consistency requires discipline. So you have to tell yourself whether you like it or not, whether you're comfortable with it or not. A lot of the things that people do, a lot of people that you see that are consistent, it's not because they like to do it. It's not because they always feel like doing it. It's because they have chosen to be disciplined. It is discipline that makes you consistent. So everybody has a problem with consistency. It's not you. It's not you're not the only one. The only thing that makes me different from you is because I have chosen to climb the bridge of discipline daily, to do whatever I have to do, whatever I've committed to do. I have chosen to climb the bridge of discipline to make sure that I show up and get it done. So motivation can get you started. Motivation definitely gets you started, but you're never going to be motivated all the time. You are not going to feel like it all the time. So the only thing that would make you show up even when you don't feel like it is discipline. So I hope I've answered that question. So now this next question says, how do I connect effectively with people on LinkedIn for better career growth? I think I would get Kemi to answer that. So, Kemi, how do I can connect effectively on LinkedIn for better career growth? And I think this is basically asking, how do I connect effectively online to enhance my career growth?
Okay, thank you very much. That's a very intelligent question. So really it's about networking, isn't it? So essentially, when you want to network, whether it's physical or online, one of the things you need to think of is, okay, what do I want to achieve? What are my goals? Why do I want to network in this space, whether it's online or offline? Okay. Once you've established that, is it okay to grow your career? What career are you in? Do you want to, okay, so do you want to look for people? So I work in HR. So I want to look for HR leaders. Okay. Is it just HR leaders? Is it HR administrators? Is it what level, what detail? So I guess it's about looking for the right people that you want to connect with and doing your, okay, I've found you here, this is what I do, I'm interested in connecting with you. And 9 times out of 10, most people are so gracious enough to say, yep, happy to connect. But it's about making sure that those connections are meaningful. You're not just wanting to connect because you want the numbers. It's having something in common or wanting to learn, to glean from whoever it is. So having that intention is more important than the additional person that you have in your network. It's often said, why you do a thing is more important than what you do. What's your intention behind it? What do you seek to gain from that relationship? Because most times it's a two-way thing. It's not just I'm reaching out to you because I want to get. I'm also reaching out to you because I want to give. What have you got to offer that person that you're wanting to connect with? Would be my response. Thank you.
So much. I mean, you're so right. In fact, I think the last point you raised about, it's not just about what you get, it's also about what you give. What are you going to be offering the person in return? Because you don't want to be a parasite, you don't want to be a leech on the person, because when you become a leech, the person becomes irritated and just pushes you off or finds a way to make sure that you're not able to reach them anymore. So when you connect with people like that, make sure that it is a mutually beneficial relationship. There must be something that you're giving. There has to be value exchange so that the person is always looking forward to engage with you, to interact with you, and share what they have with you. Thank you so much, Kemi, for that insight. We will soon round up the question and answer answer session. I want this question we're going to take, and this person says, what could be the right way to write a convincing proposal? Well, my simple answer to that is that you can now use artificial intelligence to do a lot of things. You know, I said something when we started. The world has really moved. Technology is growing in leaps and bounds, and you have to become adaptable. You need to learn how to use the technology that is now available. You know, it was like when computers first came and people were like, no, I'm just going to stay with the manual typewriter or the electric typewriter. The world left them behind. And, you know, we have not only moved from the desktop PC, we've moved to laptops, we've moved to tablets, we've moved to mobile phones. I mean, there was a time last week that my laptop was out and I literally worked from my phone. It is that efficient. So, and now we're talking about new ways to do research, new ways to get work done. And one of those new ways is artificial intelligence. It is artificial, but it is still intelligence. It is not supposed to be more intelligent than you, but hey, you're supposed to leverage it to help you to get your work done faster. And there's something they call Chat GPT. You should exploit. I have explored it. It is simply amazing. It is mind blowing, I can tell you. So that is the answer I'm going to give you. Go and try Chat GPT. To stay relevant in this new world of work, you have to leverage technology. Technology is growing. It's not going to wait for you. So the earlier you jump on the train, the better for you. So guys, we're going to take a short break and we're going to deal with the last issue today, which is the future of work. And I'm going to ask each member of the panel to tell me what they think the future of work is before we leave today. So guys, let's take a short break and we will be right back. Right. So we're going to round up now. And the last question that I'm going to get every member of the panel to share their thoughts on is the future of work. I believe the future of work is already here. I don't know what the others think. So I'm going to let them tell me what they think the future of work is. But as far as I'm concerned, the future of work is here. The future is here now, right now. Now. So the earlier you join the train, the better for you. But let me start from Mohammed. So Mohammed, tell me, how do you see the world of work evolving in the coming years? What do you think is going to change? What's going to be different? What are the things that you expect?
I can't speak too far into the future, but what I can say from what we know right now, you took Chat GPT 3 or 4 into question, and that's where we're at, and there's a lot of commotion about that. What I would say is that the future doesn't involve AI replacing jobs in its entirety, but the future that I see for now, anyway, is one where the people who are skilled at leveraging AI to achieve the outcomes that a company, a client, a business wants will be the ones to succeed. The same way that we all have access to a calculator does not give us all of the answer. A calculator is only as effective as the person operating it, i.e., one who can understand what the information or the numerical data in front of them is and use the calculator to come to a conclusion. The same applies for ChatGPT and all of the similar sort of systems at this moment in time anyway. The ones who are skilled at using it, who know how to query the system well, who to use prompts effectively, and to create information and then add their own nuance and their own context to it, will be the ones who are most successful. So if there was one area to follow or one area to pursue as people look into the future, it's to master the use of these systems and then take it and apply it to whatever they are passionate or whatever they're skilled at, because that's what will give them a competitive advantage against everyone else.
Absolutely. I completely agree with you. I completely agree with you. You have to leverage technology. It's not supposed to replace humans. I don't see technology replacing human beings. I see people leveraging on technology to be better, faster, and more effective with the delivery of their work. So we have to understand how these things work. I do not think this is a time for people to shy away from understanding it, because it's getting even more complex. So you better start trying to understand how it works now, so that you'll be able to keep up. So I completely agree. We need to understand it and use it to get better and have an advantage in the world of work. So, Kemi, I'm bringing you up now. Thank you, Mohammed. And this question is, how can professionals stay adaptable and resilient in the face of this ongoing change? You said that the world is volatile, uncertain, complex, ambiguous, and it is disruptive. Is always, things are constantly changing. So how can professionals stay adaptable and resilient in this new world of work?
Okay, thank you so much for that question. I think the absolute key is having a growth mindset. You've got to be able to think in terms of growth, not a goal mindset, but a growth mindset, a mindset that allows you to think in different ways, in dynamic ways, a mindset that allows you to grow, that allows you to understand that this is a journey, and it's a journey of growth, a journey of taking progressive steps one day at a time. Okay. I think another important factor in the whole process of trying to develop this growth mindset and growing and evolving is about self-mastery. So understanding who you are as a person, trying to elicit your strengths, your talents, your critical experiences and your passion, and how you can bring that to work to make sure that it speaks for you in the workplace, right? There are certain levels of gaining self-mastery. It starts by being self-aware, knowing the things that you're great at. And there's so many things that allow for you to elicit your strengths. So strengths tests, personality profiling tests can really help you find out what are some of the things that you're not even aware of, right? So it starts with doing that self-awareness. Then it moves to you exploring yourself. Then you move on to the discovery stage around what is it about me that I don't even know? I'm still going through that stage. Trust me, I'm at this stage where each and every day I have to take a step back and reflect and think, what did I do today that was different to what I did yesterday? I can't stay the same. The world is changing, so I've got to also change in line with how it's going. So I've got to understand things about myself. That's another stage of self-mastery. Understand what I like, what I don't like, what I'm good at. Then you move to self-transformation. Once you're aware of yourself and you've explored and you understand and you've discovered fantastic things that you probably don't know, then you transform. Then you begin to love yourself, because you don't then move to that place of I'm not good enough or I'm comparing myself with someone else. You bring to the fore those good things that I mentioned earlier, your strengths, your talents, your experiences and passion. And then you get to the place of mastering yourself, so much so that you know the value that lies within you. You know what you're about. You know how to, as Emeka said, you know how to communicate your value to the point where people want to pay a price for the value that you bring to the table. Thank you.
Kemi. And the last question is this is for Emeka. So, Emeka, I know I have mentioned one of them. So, what are the new technologies, the new trends? What are the new things that are happening that people need to leverage on as professionals for the future? What are those new things that people need to leverage on?
For me, beyond AI is basically the one on that is leading right now, but I think we should always go back to our fundamentals. I think that's what makes you different or differentiates you from the new technology. It's not just so. Let me explain to you. ChatGPT is the platform. There are other AI or AI platforms that leverage ChatGPT. So it's one of them, and I use them. I've done research and I see that it's very effective. Like Mohammed rightly said, the essence is to make you more productive. It's not to make you lazy, but it's to make you more productive. Now, as a professional, the ability to leverage this new technology, which is AI, virtual reality, artificial intelligence, which is AI, virtual reality, and even social media. So people use artificial intelligence and integrate it into all these different other aspects of technology to make people faster. So I give an example. There's an app called Descript. What does Descript does? Descript is an artificial intelligence or AI, as you prefer to call it, that helps you edit your videos. So you can edit a video by just deleting or editing the text. So this webinar that we've done, if we put it on Descript, it will transcribe it into text, and we can edit the video by deleting some of the things that the speakers have said, and that will be the edited video. That's for video editing. There are other artificial intelligence for podcasting, for writing your CV, for editing your CV, for writing scripts, for responding, for writing emails. There are AI that you can integrate through ChatGPT and some other platforms into your Gmail and respond to an email instantly. Now, these things are good, but it shouldn't take away your fundamentals, which is understanding. Kemi has said it, I have said it, Mohammed has said it. You need to understand why you're here, understand, have emotional intelligence, and have a growth mindset, know how to position yourself, know how to leverage this platform. Above all, know that you are the CEO of your own organization. That is very important because AI is just a tool, like a calculator in your hands. It's not going to replace humans. So organizations will now look at people that have high soft skills and know how and have high technical skills. That is how they will employ. As a business owner, I want to deal with a business that has good self mastery, emotional intelligence, and is leveraging technology to give me that solution faster than every other person. That is how I'll pick. So if you don't have the fundamentals of having the right mindset, having proper emotional intelligence, having a strong conviction or a purpose why you're in business or why you're a professional or why you are in that industry, and then know how to leverage technology, you will not be the person that they want to do business with you. So it's not enough for you to go around searching for the newest technology and forgetting your fundamentals, which are the soft skills and your purpose. So that's what I would say.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Emeka. That was very profound, and you're absolutely right. Um, um, Technology is not going to replace humans. Technology still needs humans to operate, needs humans to create it, needs humans to create the code, needs you to implement, to know whether it works or not. And that's where you come in. The advantage you're going to have as a professional is your capacity and your ability to use it to be more effective and productive. That is what gives you a competitive edge. That is what is going to give you a competitive edge. That is what is going to position you for the kind of growth that you desire in this new world of work. So, it's like Emeka said, the people that people want to employ now, it's not just about your technical skills. It has also be about, do you know who you are you emotionally intelligent? Do you know yourself? Do you understand how you operate? Do you know what your strengths are? Do you know what your weaknesses are you able to leverage those things to give your employer the best? And you cannot do that if you don't first go on the journey of self-discovery, like Kemi said. If you do not understand yourself and you are constantly on that journey of self-discovery and become a master of yourself, such that you know that part of you that gives you the result that you desire. And that result you can even get faster when you use technology, because technology is here to stay. So you need to leverage it, you need to understand it, you need to use it to your advantage. We have come to the end of this first edition of the Accelerate Your Career Growth webinar series. Like I said earlier, this series is going to be quarterly. We're going to have another one in the second quarter, but it's going to be a platform where we are going to be talking about these things that are particular to professionals. I don't think we have these conversations enough, right? And I am so glad that we now have a platform where we can have these conversations where professionals can be helped to become the best versions of themselves, and give the world their best, and also grow in their career. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. We've heard from all the panelists. Thank you very much, Kemi. Thank you, Mohammed. Thank you, Emeka. Thank you so much, guys. I really, really appreciate your time. Thank you for showing up for me and for everybody that has been here. Thank you so much, everyone that has shown up, everyone that has shown up live. You have shown up for yourself. This is time well invested. I'm sure that you have learned a lot. I'm sure that your notes are full. I will encourage you, like I said, this is a platform where we're going to be showcasing experts, coaches, thought leaders that you can follow, that you can learn from, that you can get the right type of help from. And I would totally recommend that you follow any of these people. So go and look for Kemi Oye on Instagram and LinkedIn. She's there. You need to follow her so you can learn from her. You need to go and look for Mr. Ebenero. Emeka is my coach. He helped me to create my brand. So if your personal brand is important to you, go and look for him on Instagram and LinkedIn. You will find him there. And Mohammed is the guy you need to coach you and to mentor you if you're a small business owner. He's on LinkedIn and on Instagram. They're going to drop the link to their social media handles in the comments. So go and follow them and learn from them. And if you need more help, jump into their DM and they will tell you how you can work with them. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us today. I really appreciate the time. Thank you guys for showing up for me. Thank you, Kemi. Thank you, Mohammed. Thank you, Emeka. And thank you, everyone. Have a beautiful rest of the day. Bye for now.
Bye.